The Creechmeister General.
Creechmeister.
Has anyone ever called you that?
No, actually, they
No.
haven't. Usually I get called Creature or something.
Creature. The Creature.
Or other stuff we won't put on this interview.
Right. Oh, man. All right.
These are the basic ones.
You haven't?
Believe it or not, no. I've only been pheasant hunting.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Okay.
They've invited
Wow.
me. I've been invited to go deer hunting this fall. I'm up in the air on it.
Yeah, it's fun. Even if you don't get anything, the experience, is very seldom do I ever shoot anything, but I hate missing it because the experience is so rewarding to be out there in the woods. It's awesome.
Okay, hold on. Are we live?
Yeah, I think we're good. We're
All
here
right,
with
Leo.
Tim Creech out of Jackson, Michigan. Thank
Yep.
you. We had some
Hey, everybody.
streaming issues and such.
We have a limited time schedule now.
We have a limited time schedule, so I'm gonna fire. So we're not gonna play our game. Is that all right? I'm just gonna get right into it.
So we're gonna fire some questions at you.
Go for
Is
it.
that all right? So here's what I know about you: that you were
Okay.
an executive in the banking industry for about 25 years. And so, is
Right.
this? Do you think this is like? Do you consider this your second career or
Third
career? Or
It's
just a
definitely. I've
continuation
done
everything?
a lot of things over the years, but I was a bank executive for most of my life.
Yeah.
I ran commercial lending, mortgage lending, consumer lending, marketing. At one time, I was hired to be the president of a bank, and
wow.
that didn't work out from our family perspective. And so that's how I got into selling real estate, because all of a sudden I was back in Jackson, Michigan. I wasn't in banking, and I'm like, what am I going to do here until I figure out how to get back in the banking world? That was back in 2012 when the economy was really not good. And I knew a gentleman named Edward Surabel who owned a really big real estate company down here. He sold to Howard Hanna. But at that time, he was on my board of directors, said, hey, join us. I got my license and just started selling. And I just really enjoy it now. If I knew then what I know now, I'd have probably got into this 10 years ago, or longer.
That's great. So you've been in about 8 years, and
Yep,
last
just
year you had
starting.
68 transactions. So that's more than one a week. That's great.
And we actually had about 12 deals that fell apart on us last year. I was kind of disappointed. We were trying to break 75, and we would have, but we just had a couple of fluky things that we don't normally get deals fall apart, but we had like 12 total.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that's busy. And you have a team, your wife, Anna Louise. And do you have any
Yep.
other team members?
We just hired an assistant. Helen actually has got a banking and also been in the real estate business. She left banking to get into real estate. She was with a large RE/MAX office, and she came on board as my assistant. She's doing about 25, 30 hours a week right now, and we're hopefully going to ramp her up to full-time as we get our new building location done.
Cool.
So with your team with Anna, do you guys like split duties? Are you like the listing, or is she the listing, or admin? How does your team work itself out to do 68 transactions and maybe more, right? So if those
Yeah, we're actually on pace right now. If we stay on the pace we're on, we'll get 100. That's been my goal, is to do 100. We're tracking to do 100 right now.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you. I pretty much do the listing. I do a lot of the prospecting and the listing. I still work with some buyers, but I'm trying to take my buyers and refer them over to Anna, and she helps do some of the admin. Helen does some of the admin, and we just kind of run.
Hey Tim, I want to ask a
Yeah,
question.
please.
So one thing that I know about you is you are a prospecting like machine. You believe in it. You do it. You and I have had conversations in the past where maybe you don't think realtors prospect enough. Can you give us some of your philosophy on prospecting? What does a day in the life or week in the life of Tim look like when you're prospecting? Just give us your philosophy on that.
Well, a couple different thoughts. I believe that if you think about a wagon wheel, and that wagon wheel has got different spokes on it, okay? If you take a thought for a second, what is one really good spoke you might have? For example, it might be your past clients. Another spoke might be your centers of influence. Another might be leads you're buying from Zillow. You might be buying leads from Realtor.com. You might be a Dave Ramsey endorsed local provider. You might get referrals from HomeLight. I mean, there's all these different methods of trying to obtain business. So think of those as spokes on a wheel. But one of the strongest spokes you can have is to actually literally go out and prospect and call every single day. So if you're calling past clients, calling centers of influence, calling expired listings, calling for sale by owners, you can circle call for just listed, circle call just sold. I really believe real estate's a contact sport. And if you're not outbound making calls, if you're passively working the business, you're probably going to be passed over. And so I start my day every day, usually depending on who my partner is, either at 8 or 8:30. I do role play where I do script and dialogue role play and objection handling for about a half hour to 45 minutes every day, 5 days a week.
Wow.
I really don't like that, to be honest with you. It's kind of a pain, but you just have to do it. And then I get into jumping on the phone, and I try to be on the phone for at least 2 hours a day every day. Sometimes if I'm not catching people in the morning time, I'll switch it up. For my personal life, I usually have Tuesday nights are usually kind of a free night for me. So I'll jump back on a prospect again on Tuesday evenings. And then every other Saturday, I do some prospecting as well. And what I think you'll find, if you're not doing prospecting right now, I would challenge you to do that. You have to stick with it, though, because the calls you make today, probably you could immediately get appointments. But if you're doing circle calling and centers of influence and past clients, oftentimes it's 60 to 120 days. And all of a sudden your phone will ring and somebody's going to say, hey, I'm calling you back. You called me back in whatever about this deal, and now I'm ready to do it.
Okay.
So that's why I'm really passionate about prospecting.
When you say circle calls, is that just sort of like how you like word like totally cold calls, like off a list of expired listings kind of thing?
Well, the expired listing, I'm literally calling that particular house. But
Yeah.
for circle calling, there's a couple of different software programs that you can get into. Cole Realty is a great example where you can ping an address. Maybe it's a home you just listed, or maybe it's a competitor just listed it, but you'd like to be in that neighborhood.
Circle call.
And now you can pull that address and you can say, I want the nearest 25, 50, 75 calls around there. And then start calling that neighborhood. Say, hey, I just recently listed this 3-bedroom, 2-bath home at 123 Jenkins Street for $129,900. I know neighbors are really important in your area. Who do you know that might consider moving into your area? Oh, great. Well, when do you plan on moving? And just go right down through a script with them.
What was that software
statistically,
called
if somebody moves, somebody else will shortly thereafter.
What was that called again?
Circle
The
prospecting.
application, the software. What was the software called?
Cole Realty, COLE. If you go to Cole Realty, you can Google that. Another one that's a great one is RedX, REDX. RedX is great. I've used them both. I like RedX a little better than Cole, to be honest.
Okay.
Yeah. Does your whole team prospect, or are you like the lead prospector? Does your wife?
Well, Helen is just admin.
Okay.
She's actually got her license too, so she does do some sales, but she's just starting to learn prospecting, so I'm trying to coach her on that. And Anna is just contacting her past clients and centers of influence. She's not outbound yet.
Mm-hmm. Do you have now when you do cold prospecting like that? Do you have any routines or mindsets that you do? Because it can wear you down, especially if you're doing it several hours and Saturdays. How do you gear up for that mentally? Because I've done that before, and it'll wear you out in a while.
It can be a little bit of a challenge. You have to try to psych yourself up I literally stopped watching the news. I don't
Okay.
watch the news anymore. I do not turn on social media in the morning because it's a lot of negativity. When you're hearing about car crashes or
Yeah.
some other, you can't do that and then come in with a hard mental attitude. So you kind of turn off the negativity to get it going. But I also just, in fact, today I've got a new accountability partner. We're having it set up where we have to be on the phone by a given time, and we have to make so many contacts a day. And if we don't do what we said we're going to do, we send each other checks. And if you don't do what you say you're doing, you get to cash my check.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
pay to play, baby. Pay to play.
Yeah. So how much of your prospecting is considered like a warm or like a past client, past or sphere of influence versus cold off the street?
I'm getting about roughly 35% or so of my business is typically past clients. I wish it was a little bit higher than that, but running around 35% is past clients and center of influence referrals. And the rest I generate.
I noticed you're a Dave Ramsey ELP. Do you
Yep.
buy other leads as well?
Do I get other leads?
Do you like buy Zillow leads or Truly leads
I
you're
buy
also-
I do a really nominal amount of Zillow. I'm only in a couple of zip codes, but I do have a very active profile. And even if you don't buy Zillow leads, I would encourage anybody that's hearing this, make sure you're getting an active Zillow profile and always put in your current sales and ask
Yeah.
for referrals. Because if you're not doing that, then you actually look like a ghost when somebody does try to research you. I've had a lot of people call me that are outside the zip code that I'm advertising in, but they'll say, well, I happen to see you on Zillow. I researched you. I saw your reviews. Mm-hmm. We can all agree that we hate Zillow, but it's not going away and it works.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
How many deals come from the Dave Ramsey?
That's actually a really good question, Leo. Dave Ramsey used to be where you had to pay him like a $3,000 fee and go through a coaching program,
Yeah.
which is all Mike Ferry coaching material, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
He just changed it. Now, when you first get started, you pay him like $3,000, but now you also have to pay $250 a month to stay in the program. So I'm evaluating that right now.
On
'cause he
top
just
of
started
referral
that.
fees too.
Yeah, and then you pay him, a 30% referral fee for anything you book.
Yep.
So it's not cheap. I've got a couple of deals from it right now. I told my rep, I said, I'm going to give you guys 6 months. If I don't really see some positive ROI, I'm dumping you.
Yeah. He's doing better than he deserves, as he says.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he's making a ton of money.
yeah, because it's all over the country.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's got to be making several million off of his referrals easy.
Yeah.
Just the real estate referrals.
Yeah. Wow. That's interesting. So, coming from the banking industry and at that high level, do you like track everything? Do you use a CRM? Do you have are your presentations dialed in? Are you really polished, or do you shoot more from the hip when you get in front of clients?
Well, when people get to know me, I always like to kid around, but I'm not really kidding. Paul can attest to this. I'm kind of like an artesian well of bullshit.
Okay.
So I just love talking to people.
Yeah. Sure.
So what I find really works for me is I try really hard to stick to a script.
Okay.
When you stay to a script, and a lot of people don't really like scripts, but think of it this way. When you go to a doctor's office, they're going to take your temperature, your blood pressure, and weigh you regardless of why you went there.
Yeah.
Because they want to start with some basic information.
Mm-hmm.
And I do the same thing when I go out and do a listing presentation. I try to stay on that script the best that I can, because then I stay professional, I stay timely, I get the questions hopefully answered that I'm trying to obtain from the client. And I think a level of professionalism comes through when you do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are you a Ferryite, like Mike Ferry scripts, or is it a? Yeah, there we go. All right.
Sitting right there.
Not Tom Ferry, Mike Ferry. You go
Mike
into,
Ferry.
you
That's
into
Mike's
the source.
That's Mike's dad.
Yeah.
Or Tom's dad.
Yep.
Tom's dad. Nothing against Tom, but I don't feel Tom is truly contact oriented. He's more passive,
Mm-hmm.
where Mike is more old school. Pick the phone up and have a conversation.
Yeah.
The more times I talk to people a day, you asked, your original question also was, do I track my information? Do I use the CRM? We are totally falling in love with KV Core.
Sidekick by 5-star. Okay.
Yeah,
It's
KV Core.
Sidekick.
Yep, same thing.
Love it.
We might
How's it
change.
going to plug?
We might drop the name Sidekick just because it's confusing people. We might just go with KV
Yeah,
Core.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. No,
Sidekick.
call it KV Core. That's what everyone knows it as. So
Call it anything.
Yeah.
It's awesome. I'm loving it.
Cool.
I think it's an awesome benefit that the company gave us for that. We're gonna, as we're developing it, we're gonna get a private line on that so we can get more into doing the text messaging and things. I think that's a fantastic thing. I track every day how many contacts do I make, how many listing appointments have I taken, how many listing appointments have I secured, how many expired listings, how many price reductions, how many closed have I done, what kind of income have I had. I have it all part of a coaching program that I do. So I can tell you right now, for example, I'm running at 78.8% on my listing presentations that I've done this year.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm at about 80% of the listings that I go on, I typically get them.
Nice.
Oh, that's good.
Hey, when you went from banking to real estate, all commission based. I mean, you were probably when you were in banking, were you some commission then some salary as you like moved up, or was it all salary?
Yeah, I was all salary with some pretty heavy bonus plans.
Okay.
Actually, I got a lot more of my income that I could get that was discretionary came from generating bonuses.
Okay. And then when you got into real estate, were there any did you ever have a point where you're like, man, this is not what I thought it was, or this is different than what I thought it was, or did you have to adapt, or was your first attempt the wrong attempt? I'm just curious what it looked like when you joined this industry for the first time and how that evolution looked.
Probably the most honest way I can answer that is, for 25 years, I was the banker sitting in between real estate agents. I honestly don't typically like a lot of real estate agents because I think many of them are very unprofessional. Many of them really don't know what they're doing. Many of them just took a 30-hour class, passed a test, and now they're trying to help somebody with the biggest decision that they'll probably make in their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying all of them because I know there's a tremendous amount of great agents that are out there. But especially like a lot of the part-time folks, they need to work on their skills. And if they don't have those and they don't have that background to come and bring it, the best thing I think that they should do is have training wheels, so to speak, where they work underneath somebody and learn, how to do an addendum, how to go on a home inspection, go out and follow home inspectors for a few days so you know the difference between 100 amp service and 200 or a fuse box.
Mm-hmm.
I saw a lot of those kind of things, and I still see it today.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any do you engage social media? I know that you're a hard caller and a prospector and stuff like that. So let me ask you this, with your social media engagement, what does that look like? And also, when you're kind of heavy on prospecting, which is good, do you have like a back-end client care where you love on all the people? Like, do you do newsletters? Do you do birthday cards? Do you personalize it that way, or are you more just on transaction orientated?
From a social media perspective, we're trying to get much more active on our Tim Creech Team Facebook page.
Okay.
So actually my wife really I think she does a really good job at that. We post pretty regularly. When we do open houses and things, we go live at events. If we're out at some cool nonprofit or charity things, we like to go live. So it's not just about real estate. We try to make it where people could see that we're real.
Mm-hmm.
Also trying to do social media things. I'm a huge advocate of BombBomb Video. Okay. If you're not familiar with BombBomb, it's an awesome video service where you can record a message and then embed it into an email. If you're Gmail users, you can send it inside of a Gmail, and it's fantastic because then it humanizes you and allows people to see who you are by doing video like we are right now. Mm-hmm. My wife pretty much does a lot of our media posts. We sponsor a lot when we're doing open houses. We always try to sponsor a Facebook ad to what we would deem to be a targeted opportunity audience for the previous 3 days before the open house. And then I actually tend to call around the neighborhood with a just listed script and invite people to the open house too by doing that circle calling like I mentioned earlier.
Sure. Do you let some of that spill into your personal social media or your wife's personal social media? Do you try and separate the two, or is it a blend?
I'd say it's a little bit of a blend, but we try to keep it kind of separate. Mm-hmm. Although a lot of our friends are mutual friends. Mm-hmm. So I think it's very important that you try to have your non-business persona be as personal, but at the same time business related, because you see somebody posting about going and drinking too many cocktails and having too much of an experience, and the next thing you know, you're trying to talk to them about listing your $500,000 home.
Yeah.
So it sounds like you have a pretty sophisticated business. It's a well-run machine.
Mm-hmm.
Did it start out that way? And I guess my other question is, for someone who's like, wow, this is great, they're vibing with you and you're treating it professional and you're working it. You're actually working in real estate every single day.
Every day.
Would you give some kind of advice to go, hey, I would like to have a business like that. I want to do that. I want to.
Yeah, like send us off.
Yeah.
And give the people watching like here's the Tim Creech wisdom.
And like in the first 2 years, you should be doing this.
Here's what I guess I would say. If you're a brand new agent, or maybe you've been in it for a while and you're just not really that happy with what you're doing right now.
Yeah.
However many transactions you're doing right now, I'd be willing to bet you could probably triple it in a year's time if you took some pretty common basic steps from accountability. If you did some coaching, which I've got to give a shout out to Mike Ferry. I'm a huge Mike Ferry fan. It's not cheap, but I think it's worth every single dime that I pay. I'm actually trying to become a coach myself.
Mm-hmm.
If you have good scripts and dialogues, you have role playing, so you build your confidence. When you're talking to somebody, you're confidently portraying what it is you're trying to say. You have a goal that's in front of you. I actually have a goal board that's behind me. You guys can't see it, but I've got a goal board behind me with all my scripts and things on it. And you're looking at that every day, and then you balance that out by also prospecting towards what those goals are. You'd be amazed what you can do. Mm-hmm. Somebody that's sitting there right now, maybe doing 12 deals, and maybe you're even struggling a little with your paycheck. We've all been there when we get in this business. But if you said, you know what, I'd really like to make $100,000 or $150,000 or whatever your number is, you can do it. Mm-hmm. It's just a matter of drawing a true business plan and sticking to it.
Yep.
No doubt about it.
All right.
You have to get into it.
Yeah.
You have to.
I love to try to help people. If there's somebody that would like to just say, hey, Tim, tell me a little more about how you do it. If somebody wants to give me a call, I'm always open to try to help out. I love teaching, coaching, mentoring, and hopefully inspiring something is really a passion of mine. And
that's great.
I know when I got in this business, it was scary because I went from making a fantastic salary and bonus structure to having to go buy pencil. And not having the paycheck to do it,
right, right.
So I've been there, done that.
Well,
if I can help somebody, I'm glad to do it.
Thank you, Tim. And I think that I'm hoping people will take you up on that. And
you can even do it below. You can have a comment.
Send him a message, private message him, comment below. Yeah. Look him up on the 5-star website. Grab his phone number. Oh, hey,
there he is.
There it is, right there.
There's his phone number.
That's actually my cell phone number.
I don't think they can
see that. 517-612-9735.
517-612-9735. Actually, they can see us right now.
Shoot me a text or a phone call, and or you could always email me at timcreechhelpedme@gmail.com.
Awesome. Tim, thank you so much for your time, man. I really appreciate you dealing with our little tech issue here and working through this with us. We're still learning every day. Every day.
Well, I got to say honestly, before we sign off, I got to give a shout out to Don Phelan because that dude has got like ice water running through his veins. I actually put a lid on my cup today. For those that might have saw Don's show the other day, I would not have handled that spilled water as coolly as he did.
Well, he's probably watching, but we will also, maybe we should make a T-shirt for him or something. We'll find some way to commemorate that. Ice Cold Don or something like that.
That's right.
Yeah. All right, Tim.
Well,
thanks,
it's a great
man.
pleasure and an honor to be a part of this company. We're starting to build things out down here in Jackson County. Mm-hmm. And we're trying to get some other agents recruited, and I'll tell you the story and just the people. It's been a great experience with us since we came on board at the end of last year. I can't wait to meet more of you. Love to be a part of anything. If I can help somebody, let me know. We're here in the heart of the Irish Hills, right by the Michigan International Speedway. If y'all are a NASCAR fan, so if you have somebody wanting to move over to the lake properties this way, give us a shout. We'd be happy to pay your referral fee of that coming this way too.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, Tim. That's
great. Like a true
You're
prospector.
Welcome, guys.
Yes.
Thank you.
Like a true.
Everybody
Okay,
have
see
a
you,
blessed
Tim.
day.
Yep. See you, man.
All right. Bye. Good, Dom?